What's up, guys? Are you a fan of Bacon Is My Podcast? And you're like, where can I find more stuff?
Well, we've got the site for you at baconismypodcast.com. That's where you can find literally everything. It's the portal to his stuff, my stuff, and our stuff, including Bacon's My Fashion.
You can find t-shirts, you can find hats, you can find all kinds of stuff to put on your body parts. You can also check out all of our awesome sponsors, get discounts. We always have the most recent and the best prices for you. And check it out also over at patreon.com/
Bacon is My Podcast. Never changing.
Never changing. Find us at baconismypodcast.com. Thanks for checking it out, guys. And remember to ask yourselves,
What's your bacon?
world peace.
Welcome to Sorta Kinda Funny. We're a comedy podcast
Brother and sister duo.
where we take your guys' embarrassing moments and stories and turn them into humor because life's about laughing at yourself, and we are sure gonna laugh at ourselves. I am James. I am your main Mac Daddy host, and I'm also joined by a loser. Go ahead and introduce yourself, loser. Go ahead. Don't be shy.
This is Lauren.
Give it to them.
Absolutely,
Baby.
absolutely. What did you just say?
Also, we sing a lot, so if you haven't listened to this first episode, I'm sorry.
We have new episodes available every Thursday and would love nothing more than to hang out with you. Does that sound too desperate?
Yes.
Okay. Check us out wherever you listen to your podcasts, and we'll see you on Thursday. And as always,
Text me if you want to hang out.
bye.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to another edition of Bacon is My Podcast. Before we get into the full-on episode with Stephen from the Stone Eye, I do want to bring to your attention a website, very important website to us.
Mm-hmm.
It is baconismypodcast.com. What can you find there? What can you find there?
You can find episodes.
That was a rhetorical question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I talked. I shouldn't have.
No, this is, I got this.
You got it.
I got this. You can find episodes. But more importantly, you can find sponsors. You can find blogs. You can find merch where you can put it on your chest pieces and your head pieces and other things, including the brand new Cover the Ice t-shirt that is available now.
I'll get on it.
Only on Bacon's My Podcast.
I mean, I already got on it. It's available now.
Yes, exactly.
When does this come out?
Also, make sure to hit us up on social medias at Bacon is My Pod. Use the hashtag What's Your Bacon
What's your bacon?
and Bacon is My Podcast.
Bacon is my podcast.
What else is there, Jim? What else do we have to talk about here?
Well, if you would like to help the show out or join us on some live streams or find some extra content, you can jump over to patreon.com/bacon is my podcast
Yes.
and join one of the tiers.
Yes.
They're awesome. They're fun. They're good. You can chat with us while we're
Additional
doing our
shows.
discussions and drinks. There's extra shows, all that kind of fun stuff. So again, patreon.com/bacon is my podcast. Join us over there. Stay in the conversation. And if you like us, whatever you're listening or watching this on, hit us with that like and subscribe or whatever it is that they do in the genre that you are listening to us in.
Exactly.
Us.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you don't like us,
Still do it.
do it. But
Yeah.
also, if you don't like us and you hit like a nasty review or whatever,
Right.
just tell us why.
Tell us why. Don't just give us one of those lame comments.
Like
on
1 star.
Yeah. On
Sucks.
we get a lot of weird lame comments on our clips
Yeah.
where it's just like,
Sucks.
way to leave a coffin, goofballs. Keep at it. And I'm like, cool, man. Thanks for being classy. Enjoy your day.
Yeah.
Which
Cool.
really means go F yourself.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead and do all of that.
Yeah.
And enjoy our little talk with Stephen from
The Stone Eye.
the Stone Eye.
Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my... Bacon! Bacon is my podcast! Bacon! Bacon is my...
I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have this gentleman on.
Yes.
because we were supposed to talk to him at Capulet Fest.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were supposed to hang out with him in real life,
Yeah.
and we would have had our drinks, and we would have been able to hang out and
We
just
would have
chill.
probably eaten something terrible.
Right.
It would have been great.
It would have been awesome.
Something spicy.
But we didn't get to do that, which, you know, whatever. We've been through the rigmarole of that.
Things happen.
But ladies and gentlemen, I want to
talked
welcome.
about it. Check out our video in the past.
Right, exactly.
I was working. I got all the juicy details.
Nice.
Oh, you still worked it?
Oh, I did work it. Yeah, it happened.
Oh, wow. Well, no, I know
Well,
that.
it happened. Yeah,
happened.
I was up there at Webster. Yeah.
Oh,
Nice. Okay.
well, okay. But more importantly, Steven is not just a guy that worked Capulet Fest.
No.
He is the
Oh, great.
singer and guitar player from the band based out of Philly, the Stone Eye. Dude, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. I'm really disappointed that we didn't get to do it in real life. We obviously we backed out on Thursday night when we saw things were kind of headed south. But
Yes.
I don't blame you.
but yeah, I
We had
still
a
wanted
limited
to.
window. We had a limited window to not lose our deposit on the hotel.
Yes, exactly.
I do not.
And
blame
then the
you one
second
bit.
hotel.
I
Yeah.
do not blame you one bit.
Well, it kind of worked out because Hartford was cheaper on the hotel
Mhm.
than it
Yeah.
was for Thompson, or 15 miles away from Thompson, or whatever it was.
Yeah, you'll
So-
have that.
But then on the second hotel, I was like, we're gonna nah. But
And
dude,
trust me, you didn't miss out on a lot. You made the right decision.
I've heard the
Yeah.
things. But I'm super excited to have you. Like I was bummed that we didn't get to hang out at Capulet Fest, and I know you were going to be working, but like your PR person, we were talking with her, and she's like, I got this other band, and he's going to be working there, and I was like, yeah, well, of course we'll have him, like whenever, like let's do it.
Right.
But when it didn't get to happen, that was you were actually one of the first people I was like, hey, we're not going to do the festival, but we still want to like hang out and have them on. So
Right.
welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. That means a lot. That means a lot that you value my time.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Actually, the reason for some of you who thought I was being rude at the end of the last video, looking at my phone, it was because I was looking at what date this would drop.
Right.
So this is dropping on August 12th, which
Okay.
means
Which means
the
that
brand new single.
Charlie the Stingray is out
Sorry,
now.
Singer is out. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like I'm time traveling right now. Whoa.
Yeah.
it is.
right.
We're
In
back to the future.
Yeah.
The future.
Holy shit.
Exactly. So yeah, man, I'm excited. You guys got a lot of cool
Yeah.
stuff going on. What's going on show wise? Like, are you guys gonna do some? Are you guys gonna stick with local, or are you gonna kind of branch out a little bit? What are you guys doing?
So for show wise, right now I've been sticking to local / regional. Like we just played in New York, actually last weekend or 2 weekends ago. So yeah, we're sticking like local regional right now until like a decent opportunity, may or may not arise. We're kind of just
Sure.
like seeing what happens. But in the meantime, just staying local, playing regional, and recording new music, trying to, how they say, like you try to get music out every 6 to 8 weeks, to tickle the overlords /
Dude,
like
that is
internet
so hard to
algorithm.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like we've always done albums, but like we're like, all right, like let's just mix it up and try this. So we actually recorded a new track yesterday, which will be out, in another 6 to 8 weeks after this album or video premieres. So yeah, we're just trying to stay busy and
I think it's really cool that you brought that up because, like, when we started this show, it was like that. It was COVID, and like you turned that corner, and everything started getting released single wise and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And for me, when I first started doing stuff with my band around that time, it was very much like, okay, well, we're gonna write a song, we're gonna record it, and we're just gonna release it. And it sounds like you're kind of doing that approach, but what's really cool to me is like you recorded it yesterday, and you're like, yeah, 6 to 8 weeks, it'll be out. Do you guys like? Are you working per song right now, or do you kind of just do, or do you write a batch and start recording them?
It varies. Because right now we've been doing a lot of the recording like in-house, without going to a studio.
Yeah.
It's kind of been like a per song thing, as of late, but that's new for us. Cause for a while we were doing batches. Cause we do 3 or 4 songs, like pay for like a studio for like a day to do all the drums and bass. And then all the guitars, vocals will be overdubbed later, like at home. But like, because right now we're doing it fully in-house and there's no like budget we really have to think about. We just been doing right now like a song to song basis just because we can. And it almost kind of keeps it a bit more like, at least right now, like I'm thinking of it this way, it keeps it a little bit more fun and engaging, because it's kind of like, oh, this cool idea, while you're still like feeling pumped about it. You can throw it on the computer versus like 2 months later, after you've already worked on 3 other songs, and you look back to the first song you wrote and you're like, oh, this is kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like there's something to that. Like you're getting the immediacy of an idea. Like you're getting to kind of like see it through to the end, which is, I guess, is like good and bad. Just like you just said, it's like sometimes you would have weeks down the line been like, that maybe that idea wasn't great, but it's like when you're in it and you can focus on it, you'll give it more time and you'll kind of give it what it needs. And see it through to the finish line.
Yeah, like a little bit more effort, a little bit more love,
Yeah.
But it's like a catch-22 though, because if you had an extra 2 months to like maybe like be done with it, but maybe just come back to it and be like, oh, I have this little idea, then maybe like something could have like spurred from that. So you're kind of rolling the dice, I guess. But I don't know, like a song's a song. Like if we're happy with it in the moment, like we've kind of gotten to the point as songwriters when we kind of know when an idea is good or bad. So
do you feel at all like in the era of singles, what we're actually getting is, because they're coming out so quick, we're just getting, because of technology, getting to the point where like you can record something and it can sound professional right away. We're just getting into an era of like high quality demos.
Or yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're kind of doing it real quick, like you would have done a demo before. And then instead of seeing that demo and coming back to it and working it for a number of weeks and maybe playing it live and all that stuff, you're kind of like, you're releasing it. But you can always go back to it because of how kind of easy it is to do now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't that what Kanye did a few years ago?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Like he released an album and then just kept updating it, which is so strange.
Just updated it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's so strange to think about, but maybe it is forward thinking. You know what I mean? Because like that could definitely happen again. And like you said, it is kind of you're just like shitting out like music quickly. Maybe you want to come back to it. And if it's kind of normalized by a certain point, it's just like, oh, we released an update to our hit single, with an extra verse. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. But instead of sending it to like all your buddies to check out first, you're just like putting it on Spotify.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
that's wild actually.
Right? Like
it's wild to think about.
Yeah. But like at the same time though, it's wild to think that 20 years ago we'd be if you're looking at it from like a 20 years ago lens, that we'd be where we are with like streaming and all that stuff. So
and 20 years ago you'd be on the road trying to like
passing out flyers
trying to bang out those songs while you're on the road nonstop.
I mean it's one of those things where I guess that's how the industry goes.
Yeah, exactly. Just staying flexible with it is kind of. Do you find that? Did you find it hard to kind of like embrace that, or was that kind of like, this is how it's going? Let's just do it.
It is hard and it isn't hard. I mean, it's easier than writing an album. Just working on one song, and but at the same time though, it can be kind of tiring. Like knowing that in the back of your head, like, oh shit, I need to write something by this point in order to capture the algorithm.
Right, yeah.
Or so it's kind of a catch-22 where it is and it isn't,
Or you can't let your release breathe the way that it should.
Yeah, or you're just kind of, you're just
some songs take longer to catch people's attention.
Well, I think that's the problem is because like you have to stay on top of the algorithm.
Right.
And you may be 13 songs ahead, but song number 3 of 13 somebody picked it up on
just
TikTok
catches now,
and it just got caught now,
Yeah,
and it's like,
kind of like,
do we pause and throw a bunch of effort into promoting that because it hit something, or do we keep that schedule.
You
of
know who you
releasing
got to
songs.
ask? Haktua Girl.
Well, she might know a thing or two about
She-
that, right?
She might know a thing or two about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because I think what was that? That interview was like 2 years ago or something like that,
Right.
or
I
3
thought
years
that-
ago.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, it was like 2
Is
or
it
3
that
years
old?
ago. Yeah,
Really?
something like that.
I thought,
From what I
it was
understood.
a few weeks ago.
Well, she's capitalized on it. She
So you're
helped,
saying the video is old, but it went omega viral for some reason, like 3 weeks
Apparently.
ago.
Like recently?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
yeah,
I
that's,
didn't know
that's
that
what that's what I was told.
Huh.
It was older, and
Huh.
yeah,
Interesting.
That's pretty wild.
yeah.
Hey, good for her.
Seriously.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And now
I
she's
wish-
trying
I
to
wish-
parlay a music career out of it.
Yeah,
And
I
she's
would do the
opening
same
bars.
thing. I would
Strike
do the
while the
same
iron's
thing.
hot, man.
Yeah.
She opened some bar in Smithtown, like next to Katie's,
That's
like
nuts.
2 weeks ago.
Like opened a bar, like
Helped no, was like
Oh, it was
did
like
an
a-
appearance at a grand
like a
opening.
ribbon cutter
Yeah,
type of situation. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Good
yeah,
for her.
yeah.
Good for
Yeah,
her,
Wild-
man.
yeah,
wild
good
times.
for her. If she plays her cards right for a few years, I mean, she could be set for life.
Yeah, man.
All
I know
because
she
she went
just
Octua. That's awesome.
Yeah. she just did something where PetSmart matched her purchase. She did this big purchase on PetSmart to donate, and because it got so many views, they matched her purchase price and they donated to like this adoption
That's awesome.
foster pet.
At least she's
Kinda-
doing something good with it.
And that's what she said. She was like, "Hey, I don't know how long this is gonna last, so it's
Yeah.
probably gonna last about as long as a Haktua." So
It's a long Octua.
it's a long Haktua.
Yeah.
It depends on how good you are at it.
That's true.
I must be pretty bad.
Well, the better you are at it, or the better you are at it, the less time that it lasts.
Right.
So,
Well, but I feel like it can go both ways though, because like maybe you're not very long lasting,
right.
so it could still be very bad, but
That's true.
it depends. I guess who's better than who,
A Haktua is in the eye of the penis.
the holder.
Is Haktuing.
Right.
Haktua.
Well, and we don't know if she's good at anything, really, other than being famous and giving much money to PetSmart.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I would say good for her.
man, good for her. I
Bravo,
wish I could
Haktua
do that.
girl. I wish I could do that too.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
That was a nice single hand clap. I like
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
you're
very
very
good.
welcome.
that. Was
What's
louder.
up?
than I
I
thought it
would.
be.
I'm holding my phone in one hand, so it's like
Nice.
I was very curious. So pre-COVID, I made a decent amount of contacts with good people down in or out in the Philly area. I feel like Philly music community wise, is sort of very tight knit and like at the same time also open to out of staters. I feel like it's one of the communities that's more open to it than a
Yeah,
lot.
I agree.
Right?
I agree with that
yeah.
too.
I would agree with that.
What's the vibe like now? Where do you feel?
I feel like it's pretty much what you said. I mean, it's tight knit, open to a lot of people. I mean, hardcore and like punk and all that's very popular. So is like garage rock and indie rock's probably up there too. I'd say those are probably the three main genres in Philadelphia. But yeah, no, I mean, I think you nailed it. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's certainly a hard market though.
Oh yeah,
because I mean, there's so much shit going on. And, there's so much shit going on, but it's not a city that's the size of New York City. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sure.
It's a much smaller city, yet there's still a shitload of things going on. So you'll find like there's like a few bands in each scene that draw really well. And then for the rest of them, it can be hit or miss any night.
So why do you think, like, one thing I will say about Philly also is that like rock has always kind of been the thing there. You know what I mean? Like it's always had like, there's different states where like, genre wise, it'll wildly differ from like year to year, depending on what bars are booking, what venues are taking, what bands are hot, what bands are kind of like faltering off. And Pennsylvania, like the rock scene in Pennsylvania, all genres of rock, punk, hard rock, hardcore, seem to kind of like always just kind of do well there. What do you think it is about, like, I don't know, the music listener, the people that are going out? What is it that kind of like keeps it there? Or is it the bands that are just like constantly kind of like upping the game and pushing new things? And
I think it's that. In regards to like punk and a lot of that, I mean, a lot of that punk sound of like the 2000s came from Philadelphia / South Jersey.
Yep.
So I think it's a lot of that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just kind of, it's just a very rock heavy city. And it always has been as long as I've been playing there. I mean, maybe too, like, this is what I was thinking of, like, in the 70s too, you had like Sigma Sound Studios and all that in Philadelphia, and the birthed the Philadelphia sound, which is, more antiquated than what it is today. But like, rock's always been at the forefront of the identity for the city, going back to the 60s and 70s as well. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a mixture of like South Jersey birthing the whole pop punk thing, New York and Philadelphia doing hardcore. And yeah, it just kind of stuck around, really.
Did you guys not get enough? I know, listen. I know this has been a great episode, right?
give me some more.
But you've heard some commercials, right?
Give me some more.
Including this one.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Give me some more.
But where can you find actual real episodes without commercials? Early and ad-free.
Patreon.com/bacon is my podcast.
He actually got it right.
Well, I just said it because I knew you weren't going to go with the joke. But if you're thinking, give me some more, that's where you go. Patreon.com/bacon is my podcast. Sign up for one of the tiers, and you can get early, ad-free episodes, extra episodes, stuff with us cooking, stuff with us eating stuff that makes us make horrible faces. You know it. You love it. If you don't know it, you should know it, and you will love it, and you should go there, and you should never, ever, ever forget to ask yourself every single day,
Can I see Bacon's My Podcast live every Sunday?
yes, you can. And the second question is,
Oh, what's your bacon?
what's your bacon?
I'm Chris,
And I'm Mel.
and together we host the podcast Spoil My Movie.
We were watching movies anyway.
And we were having in-depth conversations about those movies too.
So, we decided to share our thoughts with the world.
You can expect me to gripe about inaccurate details like supposedly cold weather, but you can't see anyone's breath.
And you can expect me to be totally adorable, but also psychologically deep.
And by the end of each episode, we'll provide our respective ratings.
Using a rating scale custom tailored to the movie in question.
Check us out wherever you get your podcasts.
We're everywhere. We're actually behind you right now.
Yeah, I've always been impressed with that. Like I've toured through, like my first couple bands toured through Philly, and every like year that we would go there, it was like it never really faltered off.
Yeah.
It was always kind of like, okay, we know we're gonna have a good show in Pennsylvania or throughout Pennsylvania. It's like
Sure.
we're gonna have good shows throughout, like, because you can play 3 or 4 different spots in Pennsylvania on your way to Ohio because it's huge.
It's huge.
It's
Yeah.
very long, right?
Mm-hmm.
And every spot you're gonna get people that are there that are just there to have a good time, love rock and roll, want to hear loud guitars, want to like yell and scream and jump around and just kind of like get their whatever out. You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of other states, even states that are like synonymous with rock, like you look at like Cleveland,
Right.
right? Cleveland, there was a long period where like it was just, you couldn't book there if you were a plugged in full rock band.
Right.
It was like we do acoustic acts and we do like singer-songwriter stuff and we do like hip hop, and that was really it. Even the rock clubs that were kind of there that like we would visit, we'd go back to tour the next year, and it was like we'd have to find a new place to be because the place we were at changed their whole format.
Right.
Whereas like Philly's a place and probably doesn't get the credit it should.
Yeah.
To be honest, like Philly, Michigan's another place like that. Michigan and Wisconsin are pretty awesome, like hot spots.
I'm trying to think of the place.
To like to go where you're always going to get people that are just kind of like ready to rock out.
And I do feel like there's institutions in Philly too. Like there are definitely venues that are there and have been there, especially for like local bands.
Yeah.
There's not really that here.
Oh no, here it's just
Oh,
covered
New
tribute bands.
York is its own animal.
Yeah, New York
Yeah.
City it depends on where you are.
Mhm.
But
I
the
feel
rock,
like it's constantly like changing and like
Yeah,
rotating
yeah.
over.
it's
and
it's
switching
it
over.
always is. It always is. There's always a healthy dose of like of pop and funk and R&B that are more like alternative-y kind of genre swaps
Yes.
that kind of do really well in New York. A straight rock band sometimes has a hard time in New York, especially now that like CB's is gone,
Right.
the Continental's gone, like all these places that were kind of institutions for that have closed down. So it's a little bit harder. You're getting a little bit more. You have to be a little bit more artsy,
Yeah.
to kind of like draw a crowd, just because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, New York's its own thing, and then Long Island is very
Sparse.
tribute and cover
Yeah,
band.
no, I believe it's probably like the Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jersey
yeah.
Shore's become very like
cover band and
yeah. Even though there's like fantastic bands in both areas, fantastic
Mhm.
original like rock bands in both areas. But yeah, I thought it was interesting because like Philly, it like never dies.
Yeah.
The scene never dies.
One
No.
place I
Well,
do
also, too,
miss.
I think.
Oh,
I don't mean to interrupt. I think one
No,
thing
no.
I forgot to mention too, which I do think plays into it. I feel like the Philadelphia region. I can't speak for Pittsburgh or whatever,
Sure.
because it's 4 hours away. Like I said,
it's
PAC.
yeah.
Right.
It's a
Like honestly, I would consider like Pittsburgh to be more like Ohio than like PA.
Sure.
At least our portion of PA. But big thing with Philadelphia too, which I feel really helps with its music scene, is a lot of people born here tend to stay here. Whereas New York, it's a constant,
That's true.
That's
city
very true.
city is like reinventing itself every 20 years, and like people are moving in, moving out, whatever. Like it's a constant like rotating door. Whereas Philadelphia, I feel, is very secular in regards to like you're born in the area, you generally stay in the area.
That makes sense. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that too.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't even
you
think
get like
about that.
we get a lot of bands as a result that even though they're not like actively a quote unquote band, like
Right.
they'll still be doing shows like 30 years later, like
Right.
you know,
Yeah. And their
just
fan
for,
base
like,
will still
fun.
come too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're inspiring the same people, and you have a lot of people that work, like a lot of bands share members, so
Right.
yeah.
Huh.
So
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of
actually.
sense.
That's cool.
I actually, I know it's no longer open, but yesterday I was cleaning out one of my old drawers. I got a ticket stub to a show I went to at the Voltage Lounge.
oh yeah, I remember the Voltage Lounge.
Yeah. Because what you may or may not know, on the show, one of the gags is I like to go to shows not in New York City.
Yeah.
Because ticket prices are higher, train prices are higher, so I might as well take a trip, spend the night somewhere, see a show.
Yeah.
And
You will
and I
bypass
see a new
the
place.
city entirely.
So yeah, I would go to Philly sometimes for shows, and Voltage was one of those places. And man, it was not your like.
It's unique.
It wasn't like this like incredible venue, but it was a vibe. It was a vibe, and I loved it.
Yeah, it had almost, you could say, like more going on like in there than it needed to. You know what I mean? Like considering the size of the space, it has like, a pretty nice stage and like an upper level and all that. Whereas like most buildings like that, you'd think it'd just be a typical like bar.
Well, yeah, it's funny because when people would ask me what it was like.
Yeah, it's like not a big venue, but it's not a small venue. It's somewhere. It's weird.
Yeah, like you'd walk in and it'd almost be like Amityville Music Hall.
Okay.
But instead of just being a space for 250 people, they had a stairs, and then you could go upstairs, and then there was a whole other like place for people to hang out.
I might have played there.
It was freaking cool.
It wasn't around for that long though.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was like early 2010s or like late 2000s up until like COVID, pretty much. I think before COVID they started having issues, like 2019 even.
Yeah,
I might have played there. That was a heavy touring block of years.
Yeah, and it's like right next door to
the Electric Factory.
The Electric Factory, yeah.
I think I might have played there. I have to look. I have to look at old stuff.
Yeah, I had a bunch of.
I might have. Yeah. Yeah, I just remember that, like when you described it and then described like upstairs and all that, I was like, I know there's a number of places that are like that, but it was like, and then the name and everything just kind of like, I was like, huh,
Yeah, you'd
sounds
walk in.
super familiar.
You'd walk in, and there's like a bar dead ahead, and then you could go up to the top of the stairs, and it was like a black, like kind of awning right there. The stage was like bit risen, and then in the back there was like a little green room area that was kind of like a garage, like behind the stage.
I think I played.
It was like a little like concrete garage, like it wasn't like anything.
I think
special.
I played the upstairs.
No,
Well,
you
they didn't
couldn't.
that might have been the Trocadero, because the Trocadero had 2 stages.
Okay, maybe that's what I did then.
And it was kind of similar in the setup, the upstairs, but like the downstairs was the big theater.
Okay. All right. Well, regardless.
Yeah.
That's just my brain going like, huh. Tangents.
Yeah, but
Tangents
that's
are
like
fun.
pre-COVID, I was, my band was working on getting out of New York, and Philly, the people in Philly were like super down to help us book, and I'd put shows together and stuff like that. And then the world shut down. I even have I have a second poster somewhere. I think it's under the Joker poster, but I have posters that I have like and flyers I had rolled up and sent out to these venues to hang in Philly, and
That's brutal.
I haven't been since, man.
Yeah.
I love Philly though.
That is always brutal.
I enjoy Philly. I'm long overdue for a Philly stop.
I enjoyed that venue, Lucky 13 in Brooklyn. We played there the past.
That's a
couple
great
times.
one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
cool
yeah.
spot.
I really like that spot. Like, generally, our New York shows are incredibly hit or miss. Like, incredibly hit or miss. But we
So are
played at
ours.
So are
Lucky
ours, and we
13.
live here.
Yeah. Well, again, there's so much shit going on.
Yeah.
But we've been playing at Lucky 13 like our past couple trips to New York, and we've actually had like 2 really good shows. So
Nice.
I really like Lucky 13. I like how
It's a
they have
good
the dancers on the bar and all that.
Yeah. It's a good stage, good space. They got the dancers. I'm not
Got
crazy.
free beer in the back too.
I'm not
which is
crazy about the
awesome.
fact that like the rooms are separated.
Yeah,
But
the bar.
I
But
feel
still,
like
it's
that's like
very cool.
I feel like that's like most bars and slash venues in New York though. I feel like
Yeah,
most
a lot of them are
venues,
doing that.
Like majority of them I play in like Brooklyn are separated.
Oh,
I've seen a couple.
In my experience, but like, you know, I only play there like once or twice a year.
Well,
So.
I like Lucky 13. They kind of like they'll leave the door open
Mhm.
because it's like I hate the places that shut the door and shut you out of whoever's out there. And like I know they didn't buy a ticket, they didn't pay to come in, but it's like we want new people to hear us.
right.
You
Yeah.
have to shut the door and have completely other music happening out there. Like
Yeah, I mean that's a good point, and it's kind of funny you mention that because after the show I was talking to one of the bands, and their singer mentioned it too. He's like, "Yeah, I don't like that." And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm competing against Mastodon right now, like, and
Right.
Mastodon and like strippers. Like, I'm not gonna
Right,
win
yeah,
this."
yeah.
yeah.
yeah, that's
Fun
Yeah.
fact: one of the PR agents we work with is one of those dancers at Lucky 13.
oh nice.
It's
Oh no shit.
fantastic.
Maybe they were there when we were.
They might have been
she probably was. She wants to come on the show.
sweet.
So
Sweet. Send her on.
yeah, sure. We'll have you on.
I like having people on the show. So speaking of tangents, I told you at the beginning. I said sometimes we kind of do that on this show. We kind of go off on like, what are some things that like, oh, what could you talk about for hours that no one ever asked you about? Like, what are some things for you? Like, you know, we said, what's your bacon was our main question. Well, like, what's yours? What's your thing that kind of like besides music? Because
Oh Christ.
music's all of our thing, right? But sometimes we get so into it that you have to kind of like break away from it.
Inundated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's your stuff, man? You like cooking? You like video games? You like
Yeah, I like-
movies? You like
I like cooking. I like all those things. I don't know, maybe like board games. Like I guess in regards to music, like specific bands, you know, that I might geek out about.
sure,
Pinball. I think pinball is awesome.
dude. Pinball's great.
Ooh.
Yeah, pinball is fucking awesome.
Yeah, man.
And then I don't know, like kayaking, fishing, shit like
Dude.
that.
Ooh,
Hockey.
kayaking.
Hockey's fun. Baseball's awesome too. But
Okay, so we got a lot of them. We got a
Wait.
lot of them here. Now,
You said hockey, and
Yeah.
he also brought up Tecmo Bowl. Do you remember the old Nintendo hockey game?
which
Where
one?
you-
Ice hockey or
gonna
Blades of
say, yeah.
Steel?
Well,
Blades
I
of
like
Like
Steel.
the one where you fight?
that was
well,
Blades of Steel,
Blades,
right?
that was Blades of Steel.
Yeah, that's Blades
We
of
fight-
Steel.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I did like souping my team up with a bunch of fat guys.
Yeah, that's ice hockey then.
That's ice hockey.
Yeah.
That was fun.
4v4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
That game's a lot of fun.
he's
That-
our resident retro gamer.
Oh yeah. Well, I was just playing last night. Actually, I was emulating online with some buddies. I was playing PGA Tour 3 on the Genesis.
Dude, hell yeah, man.
Yes.
That game's awesome.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
a fucking shitload of fun. So I love all those old games like Tecmo Bowl, the Ken Griffey Major League Baseball. You know, go on and on. But yeah, no, I love my retro games and specifically retro sports games. Like something about retro sports games really like just like itches my nostalgia.
Yeah, man.
You know.
I played Double Dribble.
Oh,
you gotta say like double dribble.
Double Dribble.
Yeah.
It's like-
You played Double Dribble when?
I played Double Dribble like I have the Raspberry Pi and I hooked it up a couple weeks ago just to like see if it still worked.
Yeah,
And I have Double Dribble on it. And like I'm scrolling through all the games and I'm like, oh man.
yeah.
Well, double
I just-
dribble and then you
I just
got
gotta do
NBA Jam,
one-
of course.
NBA Jam was great.
Well, do you remember the precursor to that? Arch Rivals.
Oh, I don't
I've
remember
never
that one.
played it, but I've seen it.
Oh, dude. Arch Rivals was like the punk rock version of NBA Jam.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was like unlicensed too.
Yeah. Well, they didn't really have anybody. They didn't have actual players, but they had
Mhm.
just like badass characters, and they
Mhm.
beat the shit out of each other.
I love all the games that aren't licensed. I loved them before that, where it was like you'd get like a character that like their little digital card would be like you could tell like it's based off of somebody that was famous at the time,
Mhm.
but they didn't have a license for it.
Well, even like the NBA games, they never had Michael Jordan
Right.
Yeah.
for whatever reason.
Well, also baseball games never had Barry Bonds.
Right.
Yes, you're right. I
Um,
forgot about that.
So the reason for it is because they were like the only players that like did their own like licensing. So they
Uh-huh.
weren't a part. I think they weren't a part of the MLBPA and the NBA PA. So like these games would sign deals with the Players Association, but because they were such superstars, like they didn't want to be represented by the union. So
Yeah.
they had like their own like thing going on.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Which is crazy that they could do that. First off,
well, I mean, yeah.
Well, back in the day, the union wasn't as strong,
Right.
like, for the PAs. So, I mean, now it's like something completely different. 30 years
Mhm.
later. I mean, you got guys getting paid. In the next 10 years, we'll probably see $1 billion contracts.
for sure.
That's
I think
wild.
So, for sure. Yeah.
It's so wild.
Yeah. Well, that's sports for you. It is wild.
Hey man, you got a teacher and a doctor? Nothing.
Right. That guy can play basketball.
He can play basketball?
Nobody's business.
Double dribble.
Double dribble. But he has,
Yeah.
like that weird, he has that little like Asian accent because it's Konami. They're from Japan, so
Yeah.
it's like that 8-bit thing. And so he's like double dribble.
He just like spend the whole game trying to do slam dunks so you get the cut screen.
Oh yeah.
Or you get the like
or you do like the little 3-point shot from the corner that
Yeah.
always goes in.
yep.
Yeah.
Oh man. My Raspberry Pi, like, I love it, but it doesn't work anything past like SNES.
Yeah, that's all right.
But
But it
I'm
has
like
the
a-
right- has, like,
you
a
need the
bunch
right
of-
controller after that point. Anything after
Yeah.
Super Nintendo, you need like a specific controller because all the games were built around the system, and the system had some like the Nintendo 64 had the little stick and the layout that was
Well,
different.
my Raspberry Pi, I can use my PlayStation controller for.
Okay, that's cool.
So
Yeah.
possibilities are endless. So it has like N64, it has PlayStation, it has something else. I feel like, yeah, but yeah, N64. But you can't play those games because it's not strong enough,
Right.
which is lame.
See, I'm a purist in this regard. Like I almost always prefer playing the original hardware. Like, and it's not even
Oh,
'cause, like,
definitely.
Oh yeah,
but it's not even because like I can see any different. Because I mean, truthfully, it's the same, like the emulation for a 16-bit machine. But it's just something about like buying the physical cartridge for me and like playing it. Like
Definitely.
it's like my one like thing where like I know it's totally inconvenient and impractical, but I'll buy it anyway.
Right,
Like for a lot of shit, I don't care. Like I'm not buying like Funko dolls and putting them everywhere because I think it's you
Sure.
know it's not my thing. But like
Right.
for retro games, like a total waste of money to buy a cart that I can just emulate. Like I'll do it anyway, you know.
Well, what systems do you have? Like what of the systems do you currently own?
I got a Genesis, SNES, NES, PS1, Dreamcast. Those are my retros.
Nice.
Hi, I'm Don Brody, a comedian with a history degree and the host of the podcast Hilf, History I'd Like to F***. Each episode, I am joined by a new guest who has brought me a subject from history that they want to know more about. Then I hit the books, I dig deep in the annals, and stimulate. We've covered Frankenstein, Houdini, Joan of Arc, Pompeii, the Salem witch trials, right? Ugh. Join us and find out for yourself that history is a party and everybody's coming.
What's up, guys? It's Mike from Bacon is My Podcast. What I wanted to do is actually tell you a little bit about our new friends over at Arrowland's Natural Goods. They sent us over something called beard jelly. Wake Up called beard jelly. Now, as you know, obviously, I am a beard guy. I have a lot of beard products. Everything from oils to balms to butters to waxes to you name it, I've used it. Best all-in-one is, without a doubt, this beard jelly. It gives you volume, but it also controls the fizz. It softens it. It nourishes my beard. I've been using it for about 2 weeks, and man, it feels really great. Right now, they have the original spice out. This is a high viscosity beard oil that has green coffee and peppermint oils, and it's been really, really great. I know that they're working on some brand new flavors, if you will, some aromas. So go ahead and check them out. Arrowland's Natural Goods, and always remember to ask yourself, what's your bacon?
Yeah.
I because I have just a ton. I had a ton of Nintendo cartridges and Genesis cartridges, and Jen, like, we had them in the basement, so my wife was kind of like, "What are we doing here? Do you want to, like, why don't you sell them off?" And I was like, "I don't want to.
Right.
I want to play them." She's like, "Fine, like, let's play them." I ended up getting one of those the Retrons, the Retrons.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's got the SNES, NES, and Genesis, and on any side of the console, you can actually plug the old controllers into it.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And so that I've been doing that, but yeah, what's your like holy grail cartridge that you've got, or CD, since you got the Dreamcast and stuff?
I mean, I don't have like any cartridge where, like, you know, it's like, well, it's probably worth so much money. But to me, honestly, kind of lame answer, but probably NHL '94. I think that game's fucking incredible.
Not a lame answer, man. That's good. Great game.
Isn't that the one? Isn't that the one in Mallrats?
Yeah, well, so that's NHL '93, but yeah, it's the same.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty much the same game. '94 just added the one timer, and like the one timers, you know, so integral to the sport of hockey. You know,
right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that game is the perfect couch co-op, like perfect speed, perfect action, like so accessible yet takes a lot of skill. Like that game is like perfect, as close to perfect as it can get, you know, in my opinion.
That's awesome.
What's yours? What's your favorite, like, if you had a holy grail game, like if you could buy a system in a game and you could just like any system you want that's retro, not new?
Well, one that I have is for NES. I have Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters, which is
okay.
Besides the very first fighting game on NES, it's also like one of the last games they have.
Mm-hmm.
And
cool.
I had it, and like I said, it was kind of like one of those things where it was like, all right, we got to shit or get off the pot with these things. Are we going to get rid of them? Or are we going to, because we were moving, all that stuff. And like the cartridge, just the cartridge itself is worth like $300.
Sure.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I mean. I don't think I have a cart that's, you know, like that, where it's like actually like, whoa, this is super valuable. You know, I have like, you know, the staples like Mario 3 and like, you know, the Sonic
Yeah,
and all that
Right,
shit.
right.
I mean, but the thing is, like, the market though for these like, you know, old retro games is like, you know, exploding. I mean, as with everything else, just keeps going up. But
Yeah.
I mean, some of these games though, it's like, you know, I bought them like 15, 20 years ago for like,
Right.
you know, a couple dollars, and now it's like, oh, buy Mario 3 for $45 on eBay.
Right,
It's
right.
like, Jesus Christ, like,
Yeah,
really?
right.
That's one of the reasons I got an emulator, is because I was going home for Christmas, and I want and
Oh,
I
yeah, that's
wanted
right.
to get. I thought I didn't have it, which I'm glad I didn't buy the cartridge. But I thought, like, okay, I have my old N64 that's still at home, and I wanted GoldenEye because I was gonna be home with my
Oh,
brother.
that'd probably be like what, $80, $90?
Dude, and I went and looked. No, it was like over $100.
That's what I mean. Like, it's
And I was like,
insanity.
oh, I can buy a Raspberry Pi that has GoldenEye on it.
plus
right,
plus every
plus-
other game,
Plus, like,
literally every game
hundreds of other games
for the same
for
price.
the same price or a little more. So I ended up doing that. But it was like, so if I had to pick like old systems, if I had to grab a system in a game, it would probably be 64 and GoldenEye. That would be my
Yeah.
holy grail.
I wasn't a
Just because
64 guy.
man, I played the hell out of that game.
Yeah, see,
I
I
wasn't-
wasn't either.
Yeah.
I was a PlayStation guy once I got off the original consoles, but I do think for me, it would be either Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist,
Yeah.
and Genesis, or the original X-Men game on Genesis.
Yeah, those are both
Yeah,
good.
those are good. I mean,
Those
for
are
me,
Spider-Man
growing
and
up,
X-Men too was very good.
for me growing up, like, you know, when I was a kid, the first console I got was my dad like handed me down like the NES, and
Nice.
then for the Dreamcast, he actually won it in a sweepstakes. So
Oh,
he's like, yeah, it was in like, you know, 2000 or whatever. It was like some,
Right.
like it was like ESPN, like, you know, guess like the picks for the 1999 like NFL season, and he did it and like won like the Dreamcast and all these games. So like then he handed that down to me. And then, you know, so I grew up with like the NES, Dreamcast, and like Genesis, because my neighbor had a Genesis. And then, you know, from there, like as I grew up, like my next console was like an Xbox.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah.
So like I kind of skipped over the whole N64 and PlayStation thing, and I never got super into them as a result. Yeah, it's something like those early like 3D graphics, like they just don't cut. Like I'm not like a stickler for graphics, but like late like 2D games, you know what I mean? Like SNES games, like they're objectively like timeless. Like Mario, Super
Absolutely.
Mario
100%.
or Super Mario World, like it still looks great because the art design's amazing. But like but like by like 1999, they're trying out all this new shit with like, you know, 3D and all that, and like they don't really know what they're doing.
You get like
Star Fox, which is unplayable.
virtual fighter.
Yeah,
where you're
unplayable.
Every
like,
time you do something, you go through a character.
Yeah,
it's like, wait, what?
Yeah, and like it's cool because like the Dreamcast, like so I actually do like the Dreamcast shit though, because they actually, you know, that's like PS2 era, and it's like, all right, like they finally sort of figured it out. But like PS1, like early PS1 and early N64, it's like, you know, like the cameras, for example, are shooting everywhere because they don't know how to program a 3D space properly yet. Like it's still so new to them. Whereas like they had already perfected the 2D realm, you know?
Yeah. I prefer Super Nintendo to N64 100%.
Sure.
It's only the Bond. It's only GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Right? That's the only thing. Like Super Nintendo, they had the Star Wars games that they had on the Super Nintendo.
Oh, right,
were sick, dude. They were awesome. And then like that was where I heavily played everything. And then Genesis too. I had a Genesis, so it was like Sonic. Was my jam for a long time. But yeah, it was. I got off of the Super Nintendo pretty quick because I didn't like any of the other games really. It was like GoldenEye and then the Zelda game. It was Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
And those two games were like I played the shit out of those. But other than that, I just didn't really care. There were a couple of pro wrestling games that I liked on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was like,
Yeah.
Games.
Like, but you don't have the nostalgia for the era, you know, with those early 3D games. Like I don't have that same nostalgia, so it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
You know, at times when it's like, you know, Tony Hawk looks like Squidward, you know, and it's just like and it runs at like 15 FPS, and it's like, you know,
Yeah.
It's like jittery and the camera's all over the place.
And it's like
I can
only
see
a
it.
few years later, you
Yeah.
got it for real.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
and you got
yeah.
like Crazy Taxi, and you got Tony Hawk, and you got everything on PlayStation that were just PlayStation 2
Mhm.
that were just awesome.
I will say some games that you shouldn't sleep on PlayStation. Spyro the Dragon. That's a very fun game.
Okay.
I've heard that
And,
game's really good.
Cool Borders. I want to say
Cool Borders was fun.
3, maybe 2 or 3.
I liked that game. That was cool.
Never played it.
It's a snowboarding game,
Yeah.
Okay.
and it was
Very
pretty
much
darn
like Tony
cool.
Hawk. You know, you're just
Mhm.
you're pulling tricks and everything.
But it wasn't like it wasn't jonky like Tony Fox. Like you were given basically a run
Mm-hmm.
and a pike,
Yeah, it was like do tricks.
and it was like, okay, you're gonna go down this run and you're gonna do tricks and stuff, or you could do the one single jump or whatever. But
Yeah.
like it wasn't as because like Tony Hawk was like, okay, we're gonna give you a free roaming space and all that
But
stuff.
we don't have the
Yeah.
ability to really give you that yet.
But we're also going to move the camera and go through your head.
Yeah. It's like I can see at the time it being really cool, but like looking back, it's like I can definitely see they needed like a few years to work out.
Yeah,
the things.
it's a concept. It's a concept.
Absolutely.
You know. Yeah,
so.
I like that. I really love retro gaming. So we gotta, dude. Next time you're in New York, down this way or up this way, we got to go to a place. It's at the Smith Haven Mall.
Mhm.
I forget what the name of it is, but apparently it's $15. You get a bracelet for all day, and it has like a whole ton of stand-up arcades, but then also has regular cartridges like for N64, Nintendo, Atari.
Oh, sick.
You
told me about this.
Yeah, and it's $15 all day, no limit.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. That's cool. There's a spot in Malvern, PA, which is like 45 minutes west of the city, and it's similar. It's like same exact concept. It's like you pay. It's like $7 or $8 for an hour, or like 15 for all day, and
That's
it's
awesome.
more. It's called the Pinball Gallery, so it's more pinball heavy. So it's like they have like
great.
They have like 60 to 70 pinball machines in there, but they also have like 15 to 20 like standing arcade machines, and they have like a few like consoles set up with like old PlayStation NES games and shit like that. Very similar concept, and I love that place. So I'll definitely have to check out the spot in New York.
I went to. I don't know how often or if you ever go to Vegas, but
I've
there's
been once.
The Pinball Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, yeah,
is in Vegas.
I drove by it. The only time I was there was when the band was out there playing a show. I drove by it, and I've seen plenty of videos of it, but I've never been.
I actually got to go a couple of years ago, and it was so awesome, dude. It was so much fun because I mean they have like
it's like 500 games or something stupid. It's probably more than that.
There's so many there, but it's everything from like old wooden ones that are like like they don't work at all, and you're just kind of like, this is so frustrating, but this is awesome that I'm playing this. Like this, when was this in existence?
It's like
games
that
that
your grandma was like like 20 years old playing that.
Totally,
but that exact machine though, because it's not a recreation. It's the same thing.
Right. There's pictures of like horse racing on it because that's what they had.
Right.
It was like, oh, sweet, sick. But then you'll go over and they have like the old the Terminator 2 pinball game.
Oh yeah,
that's a classic.
They have that one. They have that one at the place in Malvern, and I played a bunch.
So sick.
That's a really fun one.
Yeah.
I love pinball too. I really like seeing what they created into pinball machines. Like even the newer stuff that comes out, it's like, man, that's freaking cool.
Pinball's always awesome.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like it's just always cool.
But I feel like there's also an art to it.
Sure.
Like the Pinball Hall of Fame, like you could play it and stuff like that. But I do feel like there's definitely like this unappreciated art for pinball machines themselves.
Well, it can get as tech heavy as you want, but at the end of the day, it's still like physics and a physical thing.
Yeah.
That you're working with.
pinball is like majestic. I mean, for everything from like the artwork, like I'm talking like the 70s and 80s games. I thought was really when it peaked artwork wise. It was just like unlicensed people going fucking crazy with like art and like before it was. But it's also too like it was very like primitive computer technology in the 80s, and before that it was all electromechanical. So it's like it's a fucking mystery how like they got all this shit like like syncing up and like doing bonuses and this, that, and the other without a computer. It's like, how the fuck was that possible? Like you need to be a smart person back then to like some of those like 60s and 70s pinball machines. It's like, holy shit. Yeah. It's like, but also like the game too, though. It's physics based, but it's also skill based. It's kind of like golf, where it's like you're kind of trying to play like the most highly probable shot, and like just by pure luck, like you'll fuck up and lose the ball. Because the pinball gods just say "fuck you," even though you made it perfect. You're like as close to a perfect shot, but like the difference between a good player and a bad player is like a bad player won't make as good of shots like as consistently. So both players get fucked up by the luck, but the good player has a better probability of making certain shots, which makes him the better player. Like it's really interesting.
Yeah, man, pinball's been one of those things that like I will always, if there's a pinball machine somewhere, I'm playing it.
Yeah,
because I'm always psyched to see them. I'm always psyched to like we'll go to like a barcade or something like that.
Yeah,
and I'll just be like, "Where's the pinball? Where's the pinball? Where's the pinball?" Like so much fun, man.
And it's also too, it's like the marvel that is the pinball machine. You know what I mean? It's like this huge thing, and it's like you're playing a game, but like the game is actually physically like moving. Versus just like little sprites on the screen.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, just something about seeing the physical ball roll around. It's just like kind of stimulates.
And it's never the same game either. It's never the same game.
Right.
Kind of.
You can't like move around. Yeah, you can't learn a line and then run that line.
Right.
Super Mario Brothers. You learn the lines.
You learn the lines. You learn the timing, and you can just go.
You can just fly through. But like
that's what, like even the best player in the world is not going to hit the perfect line every single time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which
Absolutely.
makes it, you can't perfect it unlike, Mario and something else,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to barcade, I wish you and I need to go to a barcade because we need to play stand-up X-Men.
Yes. But barcade's expensive. You need like $100.
I think that place out in Smithtown has the stand-up X-Men game. Because if it does, we actually when PlayStation 3 was reissuing games, they were reissuing like Ninja Turtles and like all the stand-up arcades.
Yeah.
They reissued X-Men.
Oh yeah.
And
we're full on nerds.
Yeah, we're hard. So he and I
comic book everything.
Yeah. Late night we're playing said X-Men game, and for some reason
I got kicked out of your house.
I got kicked out of my house too.
Yeah.
I was in an apartment at the time, and the neighbor downstairs was hitting the ceiling.
Yeah.
And
I was really excited when Colossus would make his noise.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, probably the alcohol, we thought that was the most hilarious thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually my wife came out and was like, "Hey guys,
you gotta go.
It is after midnight, and you are laughing way too hard and way too loud right now on a Sunday."
Yeah. And Jimmy keeps going.
I was doing it too. Yeah. But we got kicked out because of X-Men, the stand-up arcade game.
Well, so you don't get those memories with playing Xbox online,
No,
that's very true.
That's right.
Yeah.
The best you can get is the hope to get a good like controller break video.
Yeah, right. Well, but you also got to hinge on the fact that maybe your buddy is or isn't streaming. If he is streaming, then you get a good video. But
right.
If he's not, like you'll hear like a funny sound effect maybe, but it's like it's like what's the Looney Tunes without seeing Roadrunner? Like
it's different. Yeah,
you're not. Yeah, you can only hear them, you can't see them.
That's true.
It's all a part of the majesty that is
the magic
video game.
The magic and majesty.
The video game
of together gaming.
Yes. Well, dude,
a lost art.
It is a lost art. It is.
I really appreciate you hanging out with us for so long and talking so much shit with us.
Thanks for having me.
before we head out,
Yeah, let's get back to promoting your band
yeah,
and promoting your single, Charlie the Stingray, which is out now.
yes, it's
Yeah.
out right now.
Yeah, we time travel.
Excellent opening couple of days as well.
Yes,
Which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
fantastic.
I'm sure the response has been fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, it was really wild walking down Times Square and seeing my face on the billboard. Let me tell you.
Amazing, right? Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I can't
Love it.
imagine what Billy Joel felt.
Yeah, I like that.
He felt sad that he was replaced, and that's okay.
It's okay.
Because, you know, you got to move aside for the new generation.
I mean,
Yeah,
listen,
right.
He's finishing up in November. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
fine.
he's wrapping up his MSG residency, so you know.
Hey, Billy,
And Billy, step aside.
Let's go.
Time for
Wrap
my
it up.
residency.
Let's go.
wrap it up.
Come on.
Stone
Come on,
Eye.
Bill.
Put a
Stone
bow
Eye's
on it,
hanging
buddy. Put a bow on it.
Yeah. TSE is back in town, baby. Let's go.
Damn right.
So let everybody know where they can find Charlie the Stingray and everything the Stone Eye.
Yes.
Yeah, we have all the social media platforms of Stone Eye, the Stone Eye Band. If you're going Instagram or Twitter, we got Spotify, we got Apple Music. Just look up the Stone Eye, Google the Stone Eye will pop up, or check out our website, thestoneye.com. And you can find
Nice.
everything.
Awesome.
Let's
Awesome.
go.
Yo,
Yeah,
thank you for
baby.
hanging out. We appreciate you. We appreciate it. We love the music. We love the band. We love talking video games with you. All that kind of good stuff.
I love it all.
Appreciate
Too.
having you.
Let's do it. Let's do it in real life sometime.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
a Capulet.
Yeah, well, there won't be another Capulet, so.
That's all right. We'll go to a barcade. We'll play some pinball.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to do that. I'm down.
So I'm totally down.
Yeah,
for
we're
that.
totally down.
Let's do it.
Everybody at home, go play some pinball if you haven't in a while. Go play. You'll rekindle a love for it. It's pretty awesome.
It's a
Agreed.
lost art.
It is.
It
Find
is.
a place. Make it popular so more places have more machines.
Yeah.
And then we can go more.
Make
I like
pinball, Make pinball great again.
Make pinball great again. Goddamn right. I can get behind that one.
I could do. Yeah. I'm into that one.
Yeah, we all can do that, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's what we need. Yeah, and that's how decisions should be made.
I agree.
Let's have pinball matches.
Yes.
The fate of the
Yeah.
world lies in the silver ball.
Hey, can't be any worse.
Yeah, right.
Let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Let's do it. Roll the dice or spin the ball, my friends. Spin the little
Exactly.
silver ball or many balls, depending on the game.
Depending on
Depending on
both.
if you get multi-ball.
If you got multi-ball,
then
then you got it.
Yeah.
But regardless of how many balls you like to play with, remember to ask yourselves every single day
super important question.
the most important question: what is it in your life? What is your pinball? What is your multi-ball? What is your video games? What is your music? What is the thing that makes your day a little bit better?
Yeah. Steven, do you remember that question?
Bacon.
Well, that's an answer.
That's an answer. But what's
Oh.
your bacon?
What's my bacon?
Is the question.
No. Oops.
That's
It's
all right.
okay.
That's
It's
all right. So everybody remember to ask yourselves one simple question. That question is,
What's your bacon?
your bacon?
Bacon.